Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Caper.io. Today we have Marcelino. Marcelino is the Ventures Analyst at Plug and Play Center. Marcelino, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Mustafa, for having me. Excited to just share some knowledge and the experience.
So, before joining Plug and Play Center, can you give us a brief background what you've been doing before that?
Yeah. So I not too long ago graduated from San Jose State University with an economics degree. Was working as a recruiter for a local recruiting agency in the Bay Area, ATR International. And then I was fortunate enough to get an internship at Plug and Play on the ventures team. And soon after that internship, got a full-time opportunity. And was super excited and really liked the world of entrepreneurship, innovation. So I took on the job and been there for about 2 years now.
Interesting. And how's the journey been so far from moving from the corporate world to the startup world? How's the journey been like?
It's been fun. Plug and Play grew significantly a little bit after I joined. We got probably 100 people after I joined, and this is internationally and in the U.S. But it's nice. There's a lot of do-it-yourself. So there's no this is what has to be done. This is mandated. We have a lot of freedom to basically get creative and add value to the company. So if we find something that will definitely bring value to the company and the companies we work with and partner with, we're free to implement it and share it with the team. So it's definitely exciting.
So, just trying to keep the conversation relevant to the existing times, right? COVID, 2020 has all been about COVID. In the Bay Area, it has also been about the fires and the orange skies. But because of COVID, many or even of the traditional companies have been forced to go remote. So, do you think with the world transforming, with the vaccine coming out, do you think the world will go back to normal, or the remote work is going to be here for some time?
Yeah, I would honestly say that that's probably the $1 million question of 2020. Ever since COVID started and in March, many companies went remote. No one thought it was going to last this long. So, everybody thought it was going to be maybe a month of working from home, and then things will go back to normal. Soon after, we realized, there's not going to be I guess going back to what we used to do, right? It's the word that's going around, which is a new normal. And I think, even with the vaccine, realistically, there's still, there's a lot of people that even with just the flu vaccine, they don't even take a flu vaccine. So I think working remote and social distancing is probably going to be something that we're going to be seeing for the next couple of years, to be honest. And I think working remote, the world wasn't prepared for virtual meetings, virtual networking, virtual communication, and collaboration. So I think now that we've seen that we can, adapt and use the technology we had, and furthermore, we've seen new technology come up and startups take advantage of times like this to provide value. So I think now that we know we can do it, I think moving forward, it's going to be working from home and using all these new tools and other new tools that are going to continue to come out to further help us, work from home, or more on the prop tech side, seeing offices reopen, but completely different, repurposing the space, most importantly. So, keeping the social distance, sanitization, automating the whole sanitation process. So it's definitely quite interesting, but definitely nobody quite knows what's going to happen, through
True,
2021.
So, in early March, even April, multiple discussions were happening that the VC space is drying out for early stage startups. No one wants to look at the early stage startups and all. And so, since then, do you think things have started evolving? Is the VC landscape, when it comes down to startup investing, is it back to 2019, or it's not there yet?
So I don't think we're back to 2019. I think 2019, there was definitely huge, I would say peaks in a lot of VCs, in a lot of different industries. We were seeing significant amounts of investments. And I think, in the beginning of 2020, it declined significantly. And I think we're not back to 2019, but I do believe that, there is, a very slow increase in investments. Investors and VCs are beginning to realize that, even though the market looked like maybe it was going to crash or, companies were going to fail, but I think a lot of VCs and investors have noticed that there's actually a lot of companies that are thriving due to COVID. So there's still a lot of excitement, what's coming out of COVID. And I think that's what's pushing investments in different industries because no one expected this. And the fact that we're actually, adapting and a lot of startups, have been able to successfully still raise in these tough times. So I think it's slow, but it's definitely, I think, getting better little by little. And I think 2021, we're going to be even seeing a significant more increase, in investments in different industries.
God, interesting, interesting. Last question, any three pieces of advice you would give to these young budding entrepreneurs who are just starting out, especially the ones who just started out between COVID, So any three pieces of advice you would give to them, how to go about it as a startup?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, don't be afraid to reach out to VCs or angel investors. I think, there's a fear that, oh, nobody wants to spend money during COVID, but the reality is that if you have something you strongly believe in and you know that it's going to provide value now and post COVID, don't be afraid. Give it a shot. You lose nothing. It's all about the networks that you have and that you continue to build. So whether it be now or post COVID, it's definitely good to stay positive and optimistic. And I would say the other piece of advice would be, continue to look for ways to progress and adapt. Startups are always finding ways to pivot and push their technology that can basically implement to different industries and find new customer base. So I would say just continue to adapt. Both personally and as an entrepreneur. I think it's definitely important.
Got it. Marcelino, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm pretty sure we could have gone for another half an hour, but my team tells me I need to keep it within 8 minutes. Otherwise, they just cut us off. Thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself and stay safe.
Of course. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.